Nintendo is not new to reviving old game franchises. We've seen it quite often where games like F-Zero come out and it's supposed to be a spark to try and reignite the franchise again. However, one interesting game that Nintendo released over the last decade was actually a remake of two Game Boy Advance games titled Advance Wars 1+2 Reboot Camp. This game was developed by WayForward, who are known for obviously developing the River City Ransom, River City Girls series, as well as Shanty, the half genie hero. But why has this game failed? That's the question we're asking today. So obviously, if you know, subscribe, all that stuff. Let's get into it. So, Advance Wars Reboot Camp, which I'm just going to be referring to as Reboot Camp just for clarity, just to make it abbreviated and save making this video like 20 minutes long. Reboot Camp is obviously a remaster of the first two Advance Wars games on the Game Boy Advance. Now, this is the first Advance Wars game since Advance Wars Days of Ruin on the Nintendo DS in 2008, which 15 years later they finally made a new game. So this game was obviously made to test the waters to see if it was possible to revive such a franchise. And according to what I found online, the game sold 700,000 copies as of December 2023. Now, those aren't terrible numbers for this game being a strategy franchise and being aimed at a more niche audience than Nintendo's modern audience, because obviously Zelda, Mario, and there's quite a lot of crossover with those sort of games. Advance Wars being a strategy game, a lot less crossover, a lot less appeal on something like the Switch. Now, this is an interesting game for the fact that obviously it's 15 years later, it's a remaster, and it sold fairly well, and apparently it's around the average for the series from what I've read, but we don't really know what's going to happen next. Now, I don't think Advance Wars is a dead franchise, straight up. I think Advance Wars has a lot of life left in it, and I also feel like this was an interesting way to test the demand, because they've released Game Boy Advance stuff on Switch Online expansion pack, so like, to me, it would have made more sense to just drop Advance Wars games onto the Switch Online expansion pack, just so, obviously, gamers who didn't know what Advance Wars was had a chance to, obviously, play through a game, so they kind of figured what it was. But Nintendo does what Nintendo does. Now, hopefully, this game has made enough money and is popular enough that Nintendo and WayForward will work on another game in the future. Because, let's be real, right? The diversity of Nintendo's lineup is what makes it worth buying. You know, a Nintendo product always has a diverse lineup of games in casual and niche audiences, as well as mainstream audiences like Mario, Pokemon, and Zelda. And that's what makes a Nintendo product worth buying. That's what makes every gaming product worth buying. Same with every subscription service and whatnot. If there's not a diverse lineup of content, then there's no reason to really invest in that content. You know what I'm saying? Now, whether or not we get a new Advance Wars, we don't know. But the sales numbers, to me, suggests that we could get another one further down the line. But obviously, it would be a small-scale game. It wouldn't have as much money put into it as some other Nintendo franchises, and that's okay. Not every game needs to have millions, or like tens of millions or whatever, put into it to make the game profitable and marketing and all that stuff. So, hopefully we get another Advance Wars in the future. And I will say straight up, I don't think Advance Wars is dead. I think it's just going to be on hiatus for a little while, because remember, this game only came out last year as well, 2023, because it was delayed due to the Russia-Ukraine conflict as well, so that also probably didn't help, because people who probably pre-ordered the game probably cancelled their pre-orders because it was delayed. Yeah, I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I don't think anyone knows really besides Nintendo executives, but I do hope we see more, because I do think Advance Wars has a special place in a lot of gamers' hearts, for especially those that grew up on the GBA, and I feel like it could reach a wider audience if they keep making games for it, if they keep investing in it, and they try something new. Like, realistically, I would have put the Game Boy Advance games on Switch Online just to test the waters to see if there's demand, because I know with F-Zero, they did have that with F-Zero, and then they made F-Zero 99. Like, to me, that just made a lot of sense. But obviously, Nintendo does what Nintendo does, so we will see what Nintendo does in the future. Anyway, guys, if you're new here, make sure you subscribe, like, leave a comment down below, tell me what you think. I've been EC and I'm signing out. Peace.